All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Living the Dream podcast. Today we have Lauren Sun on the podcast, and she is a lawyer based out in New York and is currently here in Austin. Lauren, how are you liking Austin?
Austin is fantastic. I am loving it.
Awesome, awesome. Good to hear. We're super excited to have you on the show today. And so we like to hop right in. Why don't you start with telling us a little bit about your family, where you're from, and some of the stuff you like to do for fun?
Um, so my family, they're in California. I grew up in California as well, and then moved to New York about 5 years ago. My family is everyone's in science. So my dad, he's a scientist developing satellites for a company called Aerospace. My mom also used to develop satellites, and they both worked at like JPL, which is a division of NASA. And then my sister is working at Amazon right now, and then she may be moving jobs soon, but she's a computer science engineer. And I am a lawyer, so I am the black sheep.
Gotcha. What made you steer clear of like becoming a scientist and kind of going the lawyer route?
Part of it was like my little act of rebellion in high school. I was like, I'm going to be different than you. You keep talking about science, so I'm not going to do that. So that was, yeah, pretty much the main driving factor, actually.
Okay. So a little bit of just rebellion on your part, picking the lawyer side.
Yeah, although I don't regret that at all, actually.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you like to do for fun?
I don't do much. I know it should probably be more exciting, but I work, which is fun to me, and then I work out and I meditate. And then other than that, I'll just kind of explore random areas, maybe try different foods, like nothing too different. Yeah.
So work, meditation, and exploring different types of food.
And working out. That's like my little break and sanctuary away from everything.
Gotcha. What is a recent food that you've tried that you've just been like, I love it?
Well, there's this place called Casa de Luz in Austin that I've been going to a lot. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's all vegetables or like organic foods, rice, beans, things like that. But everything is just like very well made, and it's just like just has the best environment there. Like you walk in and it's like a fairy tale land. It's one of my favorite places, and so I've just been going there and eating a lot of my meals, especially when I want to get away from work.
I love that. Casa de Luz. Maybe I'll have to go.
I recommend it. I was gonna suggest it, but I didn't know if you enjoy foods that aren't like meats and stuff. So I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, vegetarian things.
Yeah, I do like eating meat, I will say. But okay, well, tell us a little bit about just your motivation in life. Like what gets you up and going every day?
I think the majority of it is just exploring new things. Right now my job is a little different because it's remote, but before, like, I used to love it because I got to just meet so many different people, experience different things, just wander around New York doing all of these, like, just kind of exploring, and you just meet people who are doing different things, and you just get surrounded in their world, I guess, in a little bit, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of that it's that same motivation. It's just I like exploring and just seeing like everything in life that we can experience.
Gotcha. When did you figure out like that was the thing for you? Like you really like exploring new things and stuff like that? It doesn't have to be like a specific day or something.
Specific day, specific time, 3:05 a.m. No, I don't know, actually. I think it's just kind of always been like that. And I never really thought about it until recently with the pandemic. Just when the pandemic hit, I remember being like just so sad. Like I didn't know what was going on or what to do with my life. And part of it was because everything felt just like there wasn't anything new to explore, right? Like we were just I was just in my studio doing absolutely nothing. Well, doing the same thing, but it felt like nothing. Just trying to like survive and get by day to day. And it's not fun when all you're doing is just trying to like get by day to day. Like if you're not like just trying to see what else there is. And I guess that was just somewhere over the last like year and a half with all of this, I realized how important that is to my life.
Yeah, no, for sure. That makes perfect sense. I think the pandemic opened up a lot of people's eyes as to.
Yeah, it hasn't been ideal. I'm hoping that like I mean, when things are challenging and when things are hard, that's when everyone starts to learn more about themselves and like areas that they need to improve. And when all of your distractions are gone, that's all you're left with is yourself. So I'm hoping that at the end of this, it'll be
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. Okay, well, now we get to hop into my favorite part of the podcast, where we talk about people's just dreams. And so, what are some of your dreams and goals, and just some of the stuff you want to do in your life?
So I guess there are things that I want to do in life. I guess I hesitate to call them like dreams or goals because that makes it seem like it's like far off in the distance. Like what I'm doing right now is exactly what I would want to be doing at this exact point. There are other things in future points that I want to experience as well. Like at some point, I want to go back to school and get my MBA. And then at some point, I do want to go into government as well and work in that. And then there's one like more aspirational dream or goal that I probably won't mention, but it goes into the realm of like going into government and things. And then at some point in life, I want to give up all of. I feel like you want to ask about the thing.
I want to so bad.
But no, I can see that. Anyways, and then at some point, like when it's probably like the last 5 or 10 years of my life, I'm just gonna give up everything that I have and go live in like a monastery and just live a completely peaceful meditation-y life.
I gotcha. So you're not gonna tell us what the other one is?
No.
Will you tell me after the podcast?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll take it. So what is like, I know you just like exploring new things, but was there a specific instance or person or event that made you take that first step towards just your dreams of like feeling free to explore new things or taking that step towards being a lawyer? Like, what was that thing for you? If there was something.
Honestly, I think a lot of it goes back to rebellion. Like just when I was growing up, I absolutely love my dad and I love my family and they were fantastic and amazing. But like my dad has, I guess, kind of more of a perspective that things are very like limited and he doesn't really like leaving like his little bubble. And he tried, I think, just to keep us all like in that bubble and like we were all protected and like sheltered and stuff. And I guess in my little act of rebellion, I was like, no, I'm gonna go explore everything and this is so much fun. And then I just kept doing that more and more. So
Yeah, no, for sure. That makes sense. What gave you the courage to rebel? Because I know that can be a scary thing for a lot of people. It's just who you are.
I don't know if it's so. I guess I don't like being scared of things. And I assume everything that you do either works out well or it doesn't work out. And at the end of it, you find out, right? Like there's not really anything terrible that's usually going to happen. So I don't know if it's called courage or not, or recklessness, but whatever it is, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, no, I feel that. So you just don't like being scared of things and you know that's either going to be good or bad and you're just going to learn from it.
Yeah. I mean, this might be like a terrible way to word it, but like, say for example, like some people are scared of skydiving. I went skydiving once, absolutely loved it, but it's one of those things where you go and it's either going to be a wonderful, amazing experience, and you're gonna be like, wow, like this lasted 45 seconds and I like flew through the air, or you'll be terrified and scared, never want to do it, or you'll die, but that one's less likely, like very, very unlikely. But no matter what, at the end of it, everything will be fine. You'll either have landed, you'll either have not, or you will, well, yeah, no, let's not go with the last one, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like that perspective. I think it could help a lot of people out when they're like just living in fear, crippled by fear. Because I don't know who I heard say, I think it was Will Smith talking about like fear is imaginary, like danger is real, but fear is like you're making yourself anxious about stuff that either hasn't happened or.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of the stuff that people end up doing, like it's just so much worse in our minds than it actually is to do. Like same with even just like work, when you're like, oh my God, like I don't want to write this paper or I don't want to write this memo or whatever it is. I feel like people spend more time thinking about how they don't want to do it than actually doing it. And when you do it, it doesn't actually take that long. And speaking of Will Smith, I read a quote by him recently that I liked a lot. It was something about like, well, I guess some people disagree with this, but I like it a lot, where it's like, don't bother having a plan B because plan A will work, or like if you just Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah, I
about.
don't know the words. I'm sure I'm butchering it, but that.
Yeah, I think it's something like plan B only distracts from plan A or something.
Yeah. And then you spend time worrying, like, oh, like if this happens, then I can do this and this and this. But then as you're picturing this, you're just making it more likely. Like you just focus on plan A, then it'll work out.
Absolutely. No, I'm 100% there with you. And Will Smith.
I used to love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah, great show. Great show. So this might be a harder question for you because you're kind of already like living your dream and like living the life that you want to live right now. But if you could name a few people that you can meet right now that would help you get closer to your dreams or closer to that kind of like, or just further yourself in your career, who would it be and how would they do it?
Well, I would have loved to have met Ruth Vader Disnsbeer. That would have been just amazing.
Meet who?
Ruth Vader Disnsbeer.
Gotcha.
She was basically like, just, yeah, like the dream.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not possible anymore, at least in person. And Michelle Obama, absolutely, yeah, that would be amazing. I don't know how likely this is, but if I could meet her, I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you said 3 people, right?
Just a few, whatever. You can name 5 if you want.
Oh. Well, I'm just gonna, I guess, I mean, these aren't even people that would maybe they would further my dreams just by being inspirational and getting to like know exactly how they think or like why they are the way that they are and things like that. Simone Biles, I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
I think it's Biles. Don't quote me on it, but
I've just read a few articles about her and just find her fascinating. And just I watched her speech about like when she was like, I'm not going to perform for this round or whatever it was, and I just feel like everything that she does with like such courage and knowing like exactly who she is and what she's going to do and what's best for her. And that's just, I think, an ideal that we can all, it's good for everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, and that's all I can think of for now. I think of anybody else though. Maybe I'll just make a list and just picture meeting myself meeting them. It'll just happen.
Yeah, dude. You might be able to meet Michelle or Simone. Like, you never
know. Yeah. It used to be like, I used to think that it was a lot more possible. I mean, with the pandemic, I think just meeting people in general, like anybody in general, has gotten a little strange. But yeah, next year.
Yeah, no, for sure. Is being on the Supreme Court the thing that you want to do? Nice. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and add that to the dreams list.
Sounds good.
That's awesome. Okay, awesome. So if there was 1 or 2 things that people outside of those 3 could do to help you out right now, or maybe just help you experience life in a more fulfilling way, how would they do it?
I think right now the thing that's getting in my way right now, a lot of it is the pandemic, and part of that is like internal, and part of it is also there are just new barriers, like while everyone's trying to figure out how to navigate like networking or just meeting new people or exploring their careers or like going to school or whatever. I mean, I'm not in school at the moment, but for people going to classes, everything is just kind of like this new thing where we're all trying to integrate our lives back into how they used to be. And a lot of that is internal. Like it makes me, I guess, sad. It just feels weird. Like there are just so many new emotions that you feel when you like meet people, like potential guilt of like where you were, or like just everything kind of is a little bit stranger now. And so I don't know if that's anything that any specific person can help with. I feel like a lot of that is internal.
Yeah. Is there maybe any way somebody could help you process that internally or like relate with you or anything that anybody could do?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it would just be having a network of people because I feel like one thing that the pandemic brought out is like so people have different opinions about things, and it's been harder and harder to kind of like bring that together, and it feels like people are becoming more and more like antagonistic or diversified in their opinions or whatever it is. to where it's hard. And I guess just having a good network of people who I can like try to just have open conversations with and respect and like mutual respect, all of that, all the words in that direction. So just having like a supportive network, I guess.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I love that. And, it's like you'll find groups of people where some will be like real open and supportive and mutually respectful on like certain topics. And you touch something else and it's like, they're a no-go. And then you find other groups who are respectful on those other topics, but then you touch the other things and it's like a no-go. It's hard to find kind of that universal, for me at least, it's been hard.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone has that. That sounds really nice though.
Yeah, you should start it.
Okay. Maybe it'll be everyone from this podcast.
Yeah, maybe. That's the goal of the podcast, actually. So hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna jump into our thriving three. And so I just like to ask people, I think there are three kind of just really important things in life. It's like how we learn or what we're doing to learn, how we take care of ourselves, and just taking action towards our dreams and goals and not staying in our heads. So
Okay.
my first question I like to ask people is, what's your favorite book? Or you can also talk about like a podcast or a TV show that you enjoy, but just like favorite way to consume information. What's your favorite thing in that category?
Books are definitely my favorite way to consume information. I'm not trying to think of my favorite book. It used to be The Art of Happiness. I don't know if it's fully written by the Dalai Lama, but it's supposed to be just like his teachings and things. It might be his translated teachings, because I don't think he's the one that actually wrote the book physically. But that was one of my favorite books. I want to say, yeah, that's probably still my favorite book.
Yeah, I love it. The Art of Happiness. I think that sounds like a really good one that I think a lot of people will enjoy reading.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like almost everything kind of just leads in that direction, right? When people are pursuing their passions or their dreams or love or whatever it is, it's always, we all want to be happy, and happiness is kind of love in its own way. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm right there with you. What's one way you like to care for yourself?
Gym.
The gym.
Yes, the gym.
Tell us about your gym routine, because it's like, I respect it.
So I'll go to the gym 6 times a week, 5 times if I'm like having a more tired week. So, and then I'll be there. At this point, I'm there for like 2 to 3 hours sometimes now, but the last hour is like sauna, shower, stuff like that. So I'll do stretching for like half an hour and then full body workouts for 2 to 3 of the days, which will be like a lot of kettlebells, weights, things like that. And then for 1 or 2 days, I'll do cardio. And then 1 or 2 days, I'll do glutes. But cardio is my least favorite. So that one winds up being a little bit,
Yeah, cardio.
Really, really fun way to do cardio. So that's one that I usually will try to do more.
You said what's a fun way to do cardio? Boxing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of cardio, so more power to you. Okay, what is one action step you can take or continue to take to like keep on living that dream lifestyle or get to your dreams?
I think just being more positive and appreciating things the way that they are. Maybe I feel like that always just leads to better decisions and better things, and better decisions, better actions, you just go on this like spinny thing of like momentum or whatever. So that's probably it. And I mean, I've had a little bit more trouble with that over the last year or so, but it's getting better. And I think part of it is also just like facing the things that I've been scared to face. Like I'm going back to New York next week, and I've kind of been pushing that off a little bit just because I went back in November and it was hard to see how much things had changed there. So yeah, I guess just being positive, accepting things the way they are, and just trying to find the best way to navigate that.
Yeah, no, I feel that. What are some tips you have for yourself and the audience on how to continue to be more positive and appreciative and like focus on that?
Well, for everybody, it's different, right? Because everybody appreciates different things in their lives. And part of that, I think, is just realizing when there are good things to appreciate, because I feel like when we have good things, a lot of times we're like, oh, well, how do I make sure that this good thing stays? Or like if I have, sometimes like I'll get food and I'll be like, oh my God, this food is delicious. And I'll start thinking about all the ways I can eat more of this food or add more of this to this food while I'm like legitimately eating this food. I remember I was on a silent meditation retreat a few years ago from through my law school. And at the meditation retreat, I literally was thinking, oh my God, this is so peaceful. I need to make sure I can be peaceful more. And making like this in my head about all the other retreats that I could go on, which I feel like takes away from it, right? So yeah, I guess to the original point, it's just while you're in a moment that you're appreciating, appreciate that moment and just live in it and trust that more will come, because you start losing that while you're and it just detracts from like general momentum and general everything.
Yeah. Have you read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle?
No. Oh my God, he's on the list of people I've been meaning to follow, because I have a list of like, I guess I'll call them like teachers or whatever it is that I think just have like very good propositions, just like principles, things like that. He's on the list of people I wanted to learn from. So, but I have heard of many songs called The Power of Now.
That's funny, because I actually haven't heard of any songs, but maybe I'll have to give them a listen. In that book, he talks about kind of how our thoughts and our need, like our incessant like need to think, is like a disease. And it's like, it's a disease we've all like normalized because everybody does it, but it's stopping people from like experiencing that peace and experiencing, he calls it the now, which is just like, just being able to like take life, like accept life as it is and like feel peace in every moment of life, because it's like, it's that type of thing of like, there's no danger, nothing really bad is going on. Like it's, you can be here now and enjoy your life type of thing.
And I think that also just makes it easier. Like I remember when I wanted to go to law school, and this was a while ago, but I remember I would tell people, I was like, I'm going to go to Columbia. I had like arbitrarily decided that I was going to go to Columbia, and that was it for me. But I kept getting it in my head that I couldn't get in, and there'd be people telling me that I couldn't or whatever it was. And then I would start thinking about the ways like around this of like, oh, how can I make sure that I do this and this and this? And I spent so much more time thinking about all the things that could go wrong with me getting in, where I feel like the process just became so much more stressed out. It took longer when like I knew all of the steps from the start, like plan, like this, take the outside, do this, that, like everything you know. But once you get in your own head and you start incessantly thinking, then it just confuses you, and then it makes like the whole process harder.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of people get stuck in that cycle. So thanks for sharing it. Like a lot of people don't want to admit it, but we all get stuck there for sure.
People don't want to admit. I remember, like, I feel like everyone's brain is just constantly thinking of all the things that could go wrong. And yeah.
Yeah, what makes me sad is when people think it's like, that's all there is, or like, that's how it has to be, you know? And they like are constantly finding more problems with like, anyway, that's a whole thing, whole other podcast. But Lauren, is there anything else you want to talk about before we head out?
Not that I can think of.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. Well, if you're listening to this podcast and you liked what Lauren had to say and you want to be part of that network of people that has open conversations with her and mutual respect and is just supporting her and getting support from her, go ahead and contact her. I'm sure some way to contact her will be in the show notes. I don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but we'll have it in the show notes. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, yo, it would be hype if my friend was on that podcast, or somebody you know that you want to hear on the podcast, contact me. My information will also be in the show notes, and we'll get that going. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah, no, of course. And I hope you have a great day too.
Thank you.
All right.